Hello and welcome back, and today I want to talk again about IP cameras to be utilised in home or business environments. This is the Annke. This is the 1080p affordable IP camera for home. Now straight away off the bat, this is not a NAS supported camera. So if you're looking for an IP camera to connect to your NAS device, your Synology, your QNAP, your Acer Store, your whatever, there are other cameras in the Annke range. This is designed to be a fantastically affordable camera for your home. It's not designed for outside, and if you are going to use it for business, we are talking small scale business indeed. This device retails for about 35 quid. I've got my notes here, so I'm sorry if I keep looking at them, but it is the most hands down affordable 1080p camera available right now as a surveillance camera in your home environment. This camera here arrives with a bunch of features and along with software as well to help you protect your home, you know, your friends, your family, your whatever, and also so you can sleep at night without wondering about a little tap on the window. But it has a number of cool features built into it that just aren't available in the same price bracket of IP camera. Don't get me wrong, I say it isn't NAS compatible. Thanks to things like OnViv and a little bit of tinkering, there are ways to make cameras like this supported by NAS, but because it isn't an official method, I'm not really going to refer to it in this video. But what I will say is it does have some of the lowest bitrate control out there, and by that I mean it can really make tiny files. Annke themselves volunteer that with a 64GB card inside, it can record 7 days in completely normal conditions than any of its predecessors and a number of its peers with that card, and fill it out for continuous recording for 7 solid days at 1080p at a lower frame rate, don't get me wrong, but this device manages to do that with its great bitrate control of recordings. And that's one of the things that controls a number of things about surveillance recordings. When you do get a surveillance camera for your home or business environment, one of the earliest things you're going to encounter when it comes to getting the most out of your recordings is what's the frames per second you're going to use, the bit rate you're going to use, and the compression rate you're going to use. Now this device utilizes H.264, which isn't the most compressed file format for video, but what I will say is they've managed to get pretty high results out of it to get that amount of recording in that length of time. On top of that, it has audio both ways, so it has a microphone built into it and a speaker built into the side, which means it can do audio alerts to people it sees on camera when you get push notifications to the mobile app. On top of that, it's got LEDs built into the front, as any good camera should. It's got 6 infrared LEDs that provide up to 6 meters or 20 feet distance of night vision and alerts. And it's supported by things like Amazon Alexa, Google Home, and more. And with increased support of things like Echo Show or Echo Spot, it means it can even take care of those visual prompts within that home automation device. Now, it does have tracking, thanks to its pan tilt zoom support. It also has the ability to track objects, so you don't have to do it manually. It has auto tracking, which on a 35 quid camera is pretty damn good. On top of that, although it's not NAS supported, it is supported by recording to cloud storage and of course SD cards. There is a 30-day cloud support included as well. On top of that, there's support for cloud platforms as well. Annke have their own 30-day trial included with this, with their cloud system, so you can back up all of your recordings to the cloud if you need. Now, I'm not going to tell you to go for their cloud platform. I'm a big NAS man myself, and there are a lot of NAS supported devices in their range. But what I will say, if you're looking for a cost-effective solution and the ability to band multiple cameras, you are going to be hard pushed to find a better deal than a few 35 quid cameras around the front, rear and middle of your house, all over the Wi-Fi. And even on a cloud platform, it's going to cost you significantly less unless you're going to have this set up for a number of years. And if you're not going to have a setup like this for more than 2 to 3 years, the cloud service actually works out a great deal cheaper than NAS. It pains me to say it, but it is true. Now, the pan tilt zoom is supported up to 350 degrees horizontal pan and 100 degrees vertical pan. And remember, with the smart tracking, that's going to be quite cool. We're hoping to utilize that feature when we do the software overview of this camera utilizing their mobile app. And apparently there are multiple apps supported by this device. Now, when we talk about SD card support, it's worth mentioning that the majority of cameras like this only support up to 64 gigabytes. I know things are changing on that score, but at this time I wouldn't recommend going higher unless they change their specs accordingly. This isn't really an unboxing video so much as it is just showing you guys what this looks like, because I've unboxed enough of these cameras, and again, cough, Reolink behind me, still one of my favourite brands out there. They always arrive with the same accessories. There's mounting brackets for putting these devices on walls. There's power supplies, because this is not a battery operated device. This does require an external battery pack, but I do know there are multiple solar panels out there that are supporting USB that you can connect to devices like this, so you don't have to rely on mains power. But given it is both a wireless camera and a LAN supported camera, there are multiple ways in which this device can be achieved wirelessly and wired as needed. It's not PoE supported, unfortunately, so do bear that in mind. And of course, if you are going to go for the solar panel option, you are going to have to be somewhere with a lot of light surrounding you. Now, if we look at the rear, we have got that USB port built into the rear. That is only for charging. You can't use it to attach a USB drive. There's an SD card slot built into the rear there, and that SD card slot, once again, I would say up to 64 gigabyte cards, but maybe things have changed after the recording of this video. And of course, 1 gigabit LAN to get this connected to your network. Now, this is both a network and internet supported camera. I know a number of brands out there that have cameras a pinch cheaper than this. I'm looking at you, D-Link, have got cameras that are only internet supported and only through their app without diversification into other platforms. So at least you've got a little bit more flexibility with this. And on the rear of the device, you've got the audio in and the speaker built into the side, if my light doesn't ruin this, to give that audio out so you can say, "What are you doing there?" and stuff. Now, you can utilize this as a baby monitor. Don't get me wrong, it looks quite cute. It looks a little bit like something out of WALL-E, as nearly all of these cameras seem to, if you look in the background there. And you've got the LEDs built into the side, which will kick in the minute the ambient light in the room it's stationed in goes down. So anyone that's ever used an IP camera will know this, but if you haven't, generally, IR sensitive cameras, what will happen is the light in a room will start to dim and the LEDs will suddenly kick in. They'll just switch on and then all those lovely red lights will kick in. And then you've got that night vision that gives you up to that certain distance. Once again, about 6 meters with this. Now, I am doing a software overview of this camera. I'm looking forward to doing that one because, to be honest, anyone that's followed this channel for a while will know that Reolink has been kind of my go-to brand for a long time. But with Reolink moving a lot of what their cameras can do onto their own respective platforms, their own software, and a number of non-NAS supported devices, I know a number of you wanted me to diversify things, and this is a name that just kept coming up. So I had to contact them and beg for a sample, as you do. But I'll save my final judgment for this device when we do the software overview. Do check out that video. If you've got any questions about this, once again, not NAS compatible conventionally. There are ways and means to make a standard camera IP accessible. It is by no means user friendly. It is by no means the most stable, and that's why I ain't recommending it, and that's why they're not either. But if you've got any questions, bung them in the comments below, and do stay tuned for the software overview of this and a bunch of other cameras I've had sent in for the videos in the next couple of months. I'll see you next time.